Uh, on paper where the story's told, facts and truth, the legend grows. Lionheart's here with fire to spit. It's on paper with Anthony Smith.
With Anthony Smith. Welcome back to On Paper. I'm Kelly Murphy. More importantly, that is my co-host, UFC Light Heavyweight and the ultimate girl dad himself, Anthony Lionheart Smith. Anthony, we've got you in a new location, buddy. How are you?
I'm disappointed. You used to call me your better half at the beginning.
Oh my God.
And you changed it. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you have a new location. You've thrown me off.
I know. I am. I'm in Denver.
Certainly the better half.
I wouldn't say that. It threw me off. I just was used to hearing it and I didn't hear it.
An eye for an eye.
I'm good. I'm in Denver. I had an absolutely insane weekend. I'm going to shamelessly plug my kids again, like I always do. Little Adley won the USA state title. So she is AAU state champion, district champion, and USA state champion.
Congrats to her. She's
over the moon. She's just wrestled her little heart out. It was amazing. But it was a long weekend of coaching. Our girls team, we took third out of like 200 girls teams. So that's a big deal. And so I'm tired, but yeah, I'm here in Denver. I'm training my butt off. I'm adjusting to the altitude, which really, really fucking sucks. Like that first 2 weeks is miserable. How are you?
I'm good. What did I do? Oh, we had a St. Patrick's Day party over the weekend. Our lives are very different. You were coaching your kids' wrestling team all weekend. I threw a party. That's really about it. Nothing to report.
Just both of us here adulting in different ways.
Listen, I'm not 30 yet. Once I get to 30, I'll reel it in, but I'm not there yet.
You're going to settle down at 30?
I would have liked to settle down now, but that's not the way my life has turned out.
Justin Gaethje's still not answering your DMs, huh?
No. He's not. I don't even follow him. I'm playing hard to get.
You know, when I'll probably run into him here in the next couple of days. I'll slide him your number.
Put in a good word. RJ Clifford once FaceTimed me when I was deathly ill, and I answered the phone. And it was Justin Gaethje with his phone.
Oh,
and I texted
mortified?
RJ, and I was like, "I'll never forgive you. I will never forgive you for doing that to me." I was mortified.
All right, so you're good.
But yeah, you're 2 days into training in Denver. You feel like they're kicking your ass? Like, how do you feel?
So I drove here last week. I drove in Wednesday. I think I drove in Wednesday. I always drive in the first time so that I can get one of my cars here. I get my apartment all set up, and then I fly back and forth every weekend. So I drove in. It was, I had a good couple days of training last week. I have not gotten my apartment here set up at all. I haven't gone grocery shopping. The washer is just piling up with sweaty training clothes because I haven't even gone and bought laundry detergent. This is what happens. I come to camp here in Denver, and I'm always training at home and doing my thing there. I've been teaching a lot of jiu-jitsu, obviously, since Scotty passed.
Right.
So I've been teaching, been doing that, but I'm not in fight shape. So I show up here and I just fucking die for like 2 weeks. I'm just a dead body. Today I bounced around a little bit today, so I trained somewhere else. And it's just a bunch of big guys. They're all like Denver locals. So they're already acclimated to the elevation. And like for 3 rounds, your boy was getting it. I was in it. There's a couple young guys. I was like, this old man still got it. And then we got to like round 4 and 5. At one point in time, Chris Camozzi was just face mushing me up against the wall and just punching me in the stomach. I was like,
in that moment where you were like, yeah, this is why I'm retiring.
No. He's a bare knuckle guy. So he's not like throwing kicks or takedowns or anything. So I just kept kneeing him back in the stomach because I'm bitter. He's beating the shit out of me. But yeah, I mean, this is part of the process. The first 2 weeks are always like this, and then we get rolling. But it's been okay. It's been okay. I'm in an okay spot. I mean, I could fight 3 hard if I had to.
Hopefully you won't have to do that. But again, you're just starting.
Let's hope
you're
not.
just getting acclimated.
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Everything
We'll be fine.
will be fine. Let's do things a little bit differently today. Let's get into the fights that we're going to see next. Well, I guess this weekend at this point. We've got UFC London coming up. Pretty decent card. Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady in the main event, which I'm super excited for.
Me too.
How do you see this one going down?
I never thought I was going to say this, but it depends on which Leon Edwards shows up. Because if we kind of just go back to Leon's last 3 fights, I'm not going to discredit any of his opponent's performances, or at least that's not my intention. I want to preface this with my intention is not to discredit any of his opponent's performances because I thought Belal fought magically. I still think that Leon sometimes seems like he doesn't want to be there. He seems lethargic and not super motivated, and I hear what people say, what people say about him, what his training partners say about him, what some of his previous opponents have said about him. He's a nightmare matchup at 170 pounds. I think that he's probably the most technical striker. I wouldn't say that he's like the knockout one punch guy all the time, but
more of a head kick guy.
Yeah, more of a head kick guy. He's got great footwork. I think he's a really good wrestler. He doesn't get any credit for that. I think he's got some jiu-jitsu abilities and skills that he doesn't get credit for. And he's probably the better guy. Like in the division, he's probably if we're talking just complete skill set, what these guys are all capable of, he's probably the best guy. But it's not always about what you are capable of doing. It's what you're most likely to bring to the table. And that's not always the best version of himself, in my opinion. I thought Belal really fought a complete fight versus Leon. He was all levels. He was winning the striking exchanges. Belal's just on right now. So, it is what it is. But Sean Brady, if he shows up at his best, Leon's going to have a tough time. I've heard horror stories. I've never grappled with him. I've never wrestled with him. But people that I have a lot of respect for in terms of their wrestling and grappling ability have nothing good to say about their experiences grappling and wrestling with Sean Brady. They say that he's like the Incredible Hulk and that he's wildly technical, super clean, really fast, never gets tired. And they say it's like being in there with like a gorilla. He's just so damn strong. If Leon ends up dealing with that problem, I don't know that he's going to deal with it very well.
Well, I saw Sean Brady once when he did a Fury grappling event, and I actually sat with his wife, like right up by the mat.
Craig Jones.
Yeah.
He got a win over Craig Jones.
Exactly. And we know the caliber of Craig Jones.
Right. For your jiu-jitsu guys out there, Craig Jones beat the absolute fuck out of me. And I'm a high-level second-degree black belt. Craig Jones beats the shit out of me. Sean Brady's got a win over that guy. Now, some people will say it was the rule set and, it was with the overtime rule sets or whatever. Doesn't matter. He went from beginning to end and got a win over Craig Jones. That's all you need to know about Sean Brady's grappling game.
Right. You can't overstate that enough, how impressive that is. And he just looks strong. And when he gets a hold of guys, that's usually where the fight starts and ends.
Well, think about Gilbert Burns. Those guys were in a scrap and like a really grappling heavy fight back and forth. And Gilbert Burns is a multiple-time world champion. And they were tit for tat every single step of the way. And Gilbert is like, man, that guy that sucked. That says a lot. When guys like Gilbert Burns say, yeah, that was something I don't want to do again, that says a lot. Our own Gilbert Burns co-signs on Sean Brady's grappling ability. That means something.
Well, that's why I'm curious to see what version of Leon Edwards shows up, because it's his first fight since the Belal Muhammad loss. And his coach came out this week and said that we were looking at a version of Leon that was only 30 to 40% of himself, which I take anything like that with a very big grain of salt.
Right.
But it is his first fight since that loss. And that's his first loss since Kamaru Usman all the way back in 2015. I'm curious to see how he rebounds from that. We obviously saw how he rebounded from the Kamaru Usman loss, went on this crazy win streak, won the belt, yada, yada, yada. The rest is history. But I am curious to see now at this point in his career how he rebounds from that loss against a guy like Sean Brady, who can be very annoying.
Well, Sean is going to be he has to close the distance. He's got to deal with Leon's footwork. He's got to trap him. He's got to catch him, and that's going to be a task by itself. And if they end up in grappling exchanges, I would I lean pretty heavy on the submission odds if I'm a betting guy. I don't know what what DraftKings has the odds of a submission are.
Looking it up right now, actually.
Are you okay? I don't know what those odds are, but if Sean Brady wins, I'm going to find it hard to believe he's going to win by decision, because if he gets in any kind of grappling exchanges repeatedly, he's going to find a submission probably. And if Leon Edwards is able to stay in his spot, or he's not able to, or Sean Brady's not able to get takedowns or not able to close the distance or force wrestling, I think Leon Edwards probably just picks at him from the outside. I don't know that he's going to be super impactful there. You know, again, he's got the ability to knock anyone out. We've seen him do it. We've seen him do it late. But you know, I see if it's a decision win, I think if it's a decision, I think Leon probably wins. If it's a finish, I would definitely lean heavy on Sean Brady.
Yeah, well,
but he's kind of, you know, listen, I was kind of hard on Leon there. I think at the beginning, saying that he sometimes looks and seems like he doesn't want to be there, and you're always sitting on your couch going, just fucking go, just go. It's like he's a neutral all the time.
Right.
I mean, Sean Brady, I don't know that he would have beaten Belal, but I know that the version of Sean Brady that was inside didn't show itself in that fight with Belal Muhammad. Now, maybe it would have came out and Belal would have dealt with it just fine. Belal's the goddamn champion of the world, and he deserves the benefit of the doubt that he would be able to. Right. But I agree. I hate the 30 to 40% thing, but I also agree that we didn't see the best version of Sean Brady. Now, Dean Thomas will tell you, and he's told me this several times before, even immediately following that fight, Sean Brady he's a bit of a homebody. He just wants to kick it with his wife and his family. Like, he wants to go to the gym in their little safe space. He wants to come back to his house. He wants to go back to the gym, he doesn't really hang out like that. He doesn't really want to go anywhere. He just wants to train and chill at home. He went to Abu Dhabi really early leading into that fight. So I think he was dealing with some homesickness. He was dealing with some just dealing with some stuff. He wasn't handling it very well being over there for that long and being in such a different environment. I don't think he's much of a traveler. It's just not his thing. So as much as that sounds like people are making excuses, or he's making an excuse, or even I'm making one for him, it's a real thing.
Just to clarify, the 30 to 40% thing was Leon Edwards' coach saying that Leon was 30 to 4% of himself against Belal Muhammad.
Maybe they were both at 30 or 40% versus Belal.
That's actually a great point you make, because both outcomes weren't great on both ends.
But and this is where we run into this thing where people are like, "Well, just give Belal his fucking flowers." I am. Belal's the one that's making him fight like that. I'm not telling you what the reason is. I'm just saying that the version of Leon that I know is in there was not in there was not out for everyone to see versus Belal. And the exact same thing is true with Sean Brady. Maybe that's just Belal. It's a good chance. It's a good chance it's Belal. It's also a good chance that guys are overlooking him, that on tape that he doesn't seem super impactful. It looks like he's got a lot of holes that maybe you don't see when you're standing in front of him. Belal's not very flashy. He doesn't have a lot of flair. And Belal would be an easy guy to not worry about. And I don't mean that in the sense of he doesn't look like a guy that would be easy to beat. I don't think that. But when I'm thinking of, I'm trying to give you guys a comparison. When you think of a guy like Alex Pereira, like that guy will keep you up at night because he'll just fucking shut you off in front of the whole world with your family in the front row. Like he'll make you look stupid. He's just scary. He's just scary. Like he'll hurt you. Alex Pereira will hurt you. But a guy like Paul Craig, and I'm not comparing Belal to Paul Craig, but I'm saying Paul Craig absolutely has the ability to beat anybody in the world if he catches him in a submission or gets him on the wrong side of some grappling exchanges. He's not going to keep you up at night, though. Like, you're not afraid that Paul Craig's going to hurt you. Like Belal, although very, very good and very good at what he does and very good, obviously, at imposing his will on people, I don't know that he's keeping people awake at night. That he's going to hurt you. Like
Well, because
Hamzat,
unless you're Sean
like
Brady,
like
Belal
Hamzat,
Muhammad's a point fighter.
right, right. Like Hamzat will fucking hurt you. Look what he broke the teeth out of, whether it was a previous injury or not, he broke the teeth right out of goddamn Robert Whitaker's mouth. Like Hamzat will hurt you, and he'll try.
Right.
Bilal's just going to beat you. And I know that to a non-fighter or to someone who's a casual or just a pass-by fan, that's going to sound crazy to you. But there's certain guys that, like, they just bother you. There's guys that aren't nearly as good, or like that could not be nearly as good as other guys that will bother you more than others.
Well, I'm sure Leon went into that fight with Belal with at least a certain level of confidence because they had already fought. And I know it ended in that no contest because
And
of
he
the
was
eye
smoking
poke.
him.
Exactly. I was going to say prior
him.
to that ending,
Wasn't even close.
Leon was piecing him up. So everyone kind of thought that the same thing was going to happen the second time around, even though it was 5 years later, because I think a lot of people were overlooking how much Belal could have improved because Leon Edwards improved drastically in that time.
Right. I agree. I think you're right. I think that there is a good chance that Leon overlooked him. There wasn't a lot of scare factor when it comes to Belal. But then you're in there and you find yourself in a fight that's harder than you thought it was going to be, and the wheels fall off. So I feel like we're talking a lot about Belal, maybe not so much about Leon and Sean, but I think both of those guys are, they have some things they got to get over. They got some things, because this is the biggest fight of Sean Brady's career. He's already shown a tendency to let outside factors in his life or in his surroundings affect him. He's got to, in this huge fight he didn't have a shit ton of notice for, against the former champion of the world, you got to find a way to get over that stuff. He's got some adversity from before the bell even rings that he's got to figure out how to get by. And Leon Edwards is dealing with something very similar. You're back in the UK. You're the main event. It's your first fight since you lost your title. You've been telling the whole world that wasn't you. You weren't yourself. There was other things happening. But now you got to answer for that shit. Because if you go in there with someone who's got a very similar style, very grindy, very wrestling heavy, very grappling heavy, super strong, will just gorilla grip you around your body and dump you on your head, you better have a fucking answer for it this time. Because if you don't, people are going to, what people are going to say about you. You're cashed. You're cooked. You're never going to win the title again. Not with those guys in front of you.
That's exactly why I like this fight. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and both of these guys have losses to the current champion. So they very much so need a win here.
Ain't that fucking crazy? Isn't that crazy? Belal Muhammad at one point in time was this held down. I keep going back to Belal, but I gotta show him some love.
Well, he's the champ of the division. We're dealing with two guys in the top 5 that want to fight for the title again.
Nobody wanted Belal. Nobody wanted him to be the champion. No one. They're like, fucking boring wrestler. No one wants it. He was begging for a title fight. Now all of a sudden we got 2 of the baddest dudes in the division, and you say we got 2 guys who both have losses to the current champ. Belal's just fucking chipping away.
But that's
He's just chipping away at this whole goddamn division, and we didn't even notice it while it was happening.
Well, because there was
Belal got another win.
Exactly. Belal deserved to be in the title mix for a long time. They didn't put him there. He didn't just sit there and cry about it. He continued to fight. He beat, I'm looking at his record right now, Damian Maia, Wonder Boy, Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, Gilbert Burns, and then Leon Edwards for the title. That's no crazy fucking joke. That's murderer's row at welterweight.
Yeah, I agree.
So of course these guys are going to have.
But while it was happening, there was excuses for each one. Well, the Gilbert Burns, threw his shoulder out at the beginning of the fight, and then Belal still didn't finish him, and then Wonder Boy was old, and like Damian Maia was old. While it was happening, people were one at a time were coming up with excuses. At some point in time, maybe the motherfucker's just good. Well,
you know who he has 2 clean wins against with no excuses? Sean Brady and Leon Edwards.
Yeah, those are clean.
Dry. And they're fighting this weekend in the main event.
That's crazy. Well, I'm excited for that fight. I think you bring up a perfect point that there's probably more questions than anything that need to be answered. And I'm excited just to kind of see which one of these guys to kind of put it back together. And again, I know that Leon hasn't fought since he lost, and Sean Brady's already gotten a win over Gilbert Burns since then. But they both have found themselves in a very similar situation.
Absolutely. And we move to the co-main because it's going down right in your division. We've got Jan Blachowicz taking on Carlos Olberg. So let's just get basic thoughts. What do you make of this fight?
It's cool to see Carlos Olberg kind of just making his own way.
Certainly the toughest test of his career, though.
Certainly. It's a really tough fight for Blachowicz coming off a long layoff, coming off of a shoulder injury too. Kind of a striker's delight. If we're talking about what the matchup looks like, I think both guys are going to be very comfortable in this style. Blachowicz, I'm always so uncomfortable really giving deep analysis on guys that come off of injuries because he's not young. Like we forget about, like he's been around a long time and he's in his 40s. So
42.
Yeah, he's in his 40s, the early 40s. So how does a guy that's 42 years old come back from a catastrophic shoulder injury and surgery like that? I don't know. And take the injury out of it. He's been off for a long time. Even how long are you not training with a shoulder injury? I'm not actually asking. I'm just mean like generally. He might not have seen a gym for 6 months. 6 months in your early 40s is a long time. It's a long time. So I would probably give you a different analysis had Blachowicz been consistent and active.
Healthy.
Healthy. I just don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. Is he the same guy? He's going to say he is, but we'll be able to tell. I'll be able to tell in the first 30 seconds. Like, no, he's a little slower. He doesn't quite.
How do you tell? Okay.
You can just tell in their movement. You can tell in their movement how comfortable he is, how quickly he finds his range, how quickly he's willing to step into the fire, how quickly he's willing to take risks. You can tell. Like as fighters, we can tell. We can tell right away. Like, oh, he doesn't look the same. He doesn't look the same. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought the same thing. I thought that when I seen Jamal. In
his last fight.
Yeah. He was just dealing with some things, and he just is a bit hesitant. He's never been hesitant before, ever, and he wasn't in the gym. But I knew that fight was gonna be harder than it would have been before. As soon as I seen that, like, fuck, he's hesitant. He's hesitating. He's a little bit tentative, and he'd never been before. You can't find a fight other than the Yuri fight. You can't find one where Jamal's tentative.
I mean, that's the unique thing about MMA, though. Like in terms of all other professional sports, you cannot replicate fight feel until you're in the cage.
You can't.
And about to fight.
Yeah.
You can do all you want in sparring and training, but you can never replicate that fight feel.
Mm-hmm. You can't. No, there's no way. Because we always say you can't break your toys. Because we would hurt each other. Like we just had to spar like that. Like we spar, but we don't go 100%.
There's too much risk involved.
Sometimes it feels like it. Like you'll have, excuse me, you'll have moments where you go 100%. But, a guy will piss you off or something and you just rip a fucking nasty leg kick. But the problem is it probably hurts you and it probably hurts him. So even in that moment, you're hurting yourself and him. You're taking something away. But even grappling, like you can't spin for an armbar and rip at and really get into it unless you're in a fight or a competition. Even in the gym, you can't, because if you do it right and you do it fast and you do it like it's timed well and it's set up perfectly, you'll break it before they get a chance to tap. So you're right. I think that's a really good. I think that's just a really good point you made. It really is. So I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say that. Like, but you're right. It's hard. So what Blachowicz probably feels like he's ready, but is he? He might be. If he is, it's gonna be a really fun fight. Be a really, really fun fight because defensively, that guy he's beautiful. Like defensively, he does a lot of really good things. If you have a wrestling background and you can start to mix in the level changes and make him think like Glover did a really good job. of mixing in the takedowns. Like he would throw really big high, but then, level change. That's when he was able to clip him and hurt him and ultimately get the takedown on the finish and win the title. But, even if we go back to the Pereira fight, Pereira didn't fuck him up. It's a split decision that a lot of people thought Blachowicz won.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So defensively, he's really safe. He's really safe. He's got really heavy hands. I go back to his leg kicks. I think offensively, he's awesome. Defensively, it's confusing, to be honest with you, how good that guy is at dealing with leg kicks. I know I say it all the time, but really, if you guys get bored sometime, really go back and look at his fights and see how many times he gets kicked clean. It's almost never. Like, there's impact, but like in terms of taking it cleanly without addressing it before the kick gets there or preparing himself or bracing himself, it's odd, if I'm being honest with you. It's odd. Like when I'm trying to figure out my own leg kick problem, I go to Blachowicz trying to figure out what he does. So, and his is just his instincts. It's his eyes. It's just something that he just was born with. He just sees it and deals with it quickly. You couldn't teach it. It's just him. But Olberg, though, I think.
Well, do you think Olberg is who everybody thinks he is? He's only got one loss. He's 11 wins, one loss. But the two best wins of his career are
he lose to
Kennedy and
Zechukwu.
Yes. And his two best wins are Volkan Oezdemir and Alonzo Menafield. Now you're going up against a guy like Jan Blachowicz, who's extremely well-rounded.
Right.
But like you said, big question to be answered, he recovers from such a major injury at 42 years old, because the recovery doesn't get easier as you get older.
Well, I think it's only fair that we talk about Blachowicz as if he's going to come back the same. Because I can't give you an analysis guessing that he's not going to be okay. So I have to just assume that he is. I don't know that Carlos Olberg has the maturity to systematically go through an entire full 3 levels fight with a guy like Blachowicz and be successful. And I'm not saying that he doesn't. Like, does he have the ability to work his way into some really clean boxing exchanges and hurt Blachowicz and finish him? 100%. But if these guys were to fight in a main event, can he systematically work his way through a game plan to break down Blachowicz over 25 minutes and just win a decision? Right now, I don't think so. But he's a young, crazy, athletic, super powerful power striker. He can put anybody out at any point in time. If he can find his way to a clean shot, he'll put him out. But I can't bank on something that I don't know. So I can't assume that Blachowicz is going to be less of himself than he was before. I can't just assume that. So I have to go off of what I've seen. And I can't assume that for some reason Carlos Olberg has found some newfound resemblance of maturity that I haven't seen before. So I can't just say, well, he probably does. I don't know. If he fights the way that he fought Alonzo Menafield, which isn't really fair to say because Menafield kind of sprinted across the cage and went crazy, and he went crazy back and won. Blachowicz is not going to do that. He's going to fight very smart. He's going to be very fundamentally sound. Even in the Volkan fight, he was the bigger, more imposing guy. And so he can kind of dictate those things with a guy like Volkan Oezdemir. Volkan Oezdemir is also a guy who's willing to go second and would rather go second most of the time. With a guy like Olberg, you really can't do that. You got to put pressure on him and force him to be uncomfortable, which is kind of how Blachowicz fights anyways. So, yeah, I would lean off of things that we've actually seen before, not things that we're guessing. I would lean Blachowicz.
Me too. That's what
I'm super confident, but
exactly. I'm not going to bet this fight because there are a lot of uncertainties with Jan Blachowicz. But if we get the version of Jan Blachowicz that we're used to seeing pre-injury, I have a feeling this could be a real reality slap in the face to Carlos Olberg.
And he doesn't have the grappling ability to check down. Like, if plan A doesn't work, where does Carlos Olberg go? He doesn't have a plan B. Not in this fight. With some people, he might. But in this fight, against Jan Blachowicz, who's got amazing takedown defense and a black belt jiu-jitsu that's really his game is really tailored towards MMA. Does he have the ability, if he even got a takedown, would he even be safe there? Not
Well,
that
it's
I've
like he could
seen.
go to his plan B, then great. Blachowicz goes to his defensive plan B. Then he
Right.
doesn't have a plan C, but Blachowicz still has plan C, D, and probably
For
E as
sure.
well.
Like if Blachowicz doesn't like how the striking's going, he can just check down and start wrestling. And that's not even wrestling to the mat. He can start closing the distance, start getting into the body locks, playing in the clinch, dirty boxing, push him up against the fence, really lean on the young guy and just take a little bit of the heat off of him. That's what I would do. If I was fighting Carlos Olberg, I wouldn't even attempt to play this fucking game of darts with him from the outside and just, see who can get hit first. I just close the distance. I get right in his face. I would get inside a kicking range, and I would just clinch and push him up against the fence and just wait until that second round and just take the heat off of him just a little bit. Then you can start playing your game. That's what I would do. But Blachowicz is defensively better than I am, so he's probably going to be just fine on the outside and being at kicking range. He's all, like I just spoke about before, he's going to be fine at kicking range. Whereas I'm a guy that takes a lot of leg kicks, so my game plan would be different. But if the striking isn't going Blachowicz's way, he can always get into the clinch game. If he's not liking how that's going, he can start to grab doubles and singles and play from the top. And yeah, he's got a lot of options.
I'm excited for this fight because the light heavyweight division, and I say this with all due respect.
Yeah, talk shit about it. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Go ahead, talk shit about it.
No, I'm not going to.
It's full of a bunch of good-looking guys that are really nice. That's what you were going to say, right?
Yeah, make me talk about how guys are good-looking. People already think I'm just some dumb girl. They do
just say, "Oh, look at this dumb whore. What is she talking about?" She
don't know shit.
I think you've done a good job showing your MMA knowledge. I just don't think everyone's listening.
I'm also not some fraud. Like I've already said, I've never fought before. I've just produced MMA shows for the last 6 or 7 years, and I love the sport. And that's really that. I was going to say, it feels like a big drop off after number 5, Alexander Rakic, and Carlos Olberg is currently sitting at number. That's why I said, with all due respect,
yeah. Listen, you can't even get into this conversation without me giving you shit. You're right. There is a big drop off in competition.
Plenty of injuries. You are retiring next.
You don't have to make excuses for me. We don't have to. I'm barely in the division right now, so I don't even count.
Like, you've got Ankalaev's your champion, then Pereira, Prochazka, Blachowicz, Jamal Hill, and then Alexander Rakic. Even Alexander Rakic at 5 is a little bit questionable for me. He's fucking great at some things, but other things he's not that great at. Right. So maybe even 5 down is a little bit questionable. That's why I'm excited to see Carlos Olberg against Jan Blachowicz, despite all the questions we have, because I'd like to see where he can fall in the division, because it really just feels like those 5 guys right now kind of playing a game of tag and who's going to have the title next week, and then it's everybody else.
Yeah, no, you're right. We need some new blood. And if you see, like, the UFC has been signing a bunch of 205ers. We did have the idiot last weekend that came in at like 240 or some shit like that for 210 or whatever it was. Came in way heavy. But they're trying. They're trying to find this new crop of 205er. They got a little bit of time though. Ankalaev's going to be around a while. I think Yuri's going to be around a minute. Pereira, I think, is probably on borrowed time. If he fought 5 more times, I'd be shocked.
Sure.
Blachowicz we don't got that many left for Blachowicz. He takes a couple tough losses. He's probably out. He's probably going to hang him up and, go do something better with his life. Not better, something different.
Different.
But yeah, you're right. There's Krylov is still in there somewhere. Jamal, we'll see.
But you hear Nikita Krylov, are you jumping out of your seat?
Me personally, yeah. Big fan of that guy. Big fan.
Okay, fair enough.
Big fan. Not crazy exciting, not crazy flashy. Really well-rounded. Big pain in the ass, though. Big pain in the ass. All the guys I don't give a shit what any of those guys say. They're going to say, "Oh, we'll beat anybody." We'll, play their stupid tough guy thing. Krylov bothers all of us. All of us. Every single 205er is happy he hasn't been around. Just on the off chance you'd have to deal with him. That guy's a fucking real annoying problem. Because you might beat him. He also might show up and be a fucking world beater sometimes, and you might not.
I don't know. He doesn't do it for me.
You're right though. Krylov is not the name. He's not a name. He doesn't get people jumping out of their seats. He's not. No one sees a Krylov matchup and goes, "Oh my god, I can't wait to see that fight." But
Because
just
it's almost like the same
I'm,
problem they have.
I'm giving you guys a little bit of inside baseball here. Everybody at 205 wants to avoid Krylov. Everybody.
I mean, if I'm being completely candid, I know exactly who he is and the division he fights in. I couldn't tell you his last 5 fights.
Yeah, he did Ryan Spann real dirty.
So did Waldo Cortez Acosta over the weekend.
I told you how that was going to go.
You did.
I told you.
And every single one of you guys in the split decision game, you, Gilbert, Hanato, and then the casuals, the handicappers, all picked Waldo Cortez Acosta. And a lot of people in the comments were like, no love for Ryan Spann, no love for Ryan Spann. And then,
man, I can't get any Ryan Spann debauchery right now.
On the surface, I don't know if he thought that not having to cut was going to help him.
He looked like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like shit.
He looked slow.
I was just talking physically. He just looked like shit. I figured it out over the weekend. Why I'm always like popping off at Ryan Spann. He reminds me of one of my uncles that was mean to me when I was a kid. When he's not cutting weight and he comes in all chubby and heavyweight, he looks exactly like him. I think that's why it bothers me. Yeah, I feel like he's like picking on me as a kid. I think that's trauma. It. What? It's trauma. Yeah. It's childhood trauma. Like I see him and I seen him and I was like, I'm getting angry. I don't like it. I just don't like looking at him.
Just not your cup of tea because he looks like your uncle that was mean to you.
Yeah, I'd still fucking back into him in a grocery store parking lot though. I'd fucking knock his cart right over. I hope it was full of eggs too.
Those are so expensive nowadays.
That's what I'm saying. It hurt his heart. Yeah, I know.
That's offensive. Not right.
That's offensive. Okay, we got to get out of this Ryan Spann thing again. I
was going to say, you know what else is offensive?
I'm living in the
way you, Gilbert, and Hanato continue to pick in the split decision game. You guys lost again.
That bad. Listen, I can't do it by myself. We all know that I was never going to pick against AJ Cunningham. So, like, if AJ doesn't win, that's not my fault. That's his fault. I have to.
A lot of the criticism against you is that you're picking with your heart and not your head.
Oh, fuck you guys. Don't act like you guys would just be like you'd have close friends sitting next to you and you got to make some judgment that the whole world could see. You're going to judge your friends and be disrespectful? Not a goddamn chance. Don't be a bunch of douchebags. I was very clear on my bias in those picks. I was clear. I told you guys on the Bobby Green one. If Bobby Green was fighting Brock Lesnar and Alex Pereira at the same time, I would pick Bobby Green. If that doesn't fucking scream I'm the most biased guy in the world when it comes to Bobby Green, I don't know what does. So if Bobby loses, then I just have to fucking eat it. And I did the exact same thing leading into the AJ Cunningham one. And Vittori and Delize, like,
you're not doing your team any favors.
It wasn't even that.
You guys lost.
It was a semi-close fight.
To 13 fights.
We lost what?
The casuals got 13 fights correct. You guys got 12 fights correct. You got 4 correct. Hanato got 3. Gilbert got 5.
Hanato got 3, and it's my fault.
I did not pick AJ Cunningham.
I have to pick AJ Cunningham. And the Vittori Delize one is impossible to pick. That's a hard
Really? Because only you and Hanato got it wrong.
Why would anyone pick Delize over Vittori? Vittori already beat Delize. So if you don't know, you go with the guy that already won. Because neither one of them have looked real fucking great lately anyways. Delize barely beat me and I was coming off the fucking couch.
I'm just letting you in.
He barely beat me on like 5 days notice. I cut 35 pounds in 5 days.
Did you?
And we went to a decision. You should have fucking finished me if you were that goddamn good. I was a goddamn fat slob. I was drinking beer when they called me on like a Tuesday. Like the sun was still up and I was already drinking. Like, what are you doing? You should have beat the shit out of me.
Alcohol allegations.
Yeah, you should have beat me up, you goddamn nerd. He's a nice guy. I actually don't mind Delize. But I mean, let's not pretend like that's a fan. If I fucking suck so bad, like everybody fucking says, then beating me by decision and losing one round on your way to doing it is not the way that you get a bunch of people to pick you in the main event versus a guy that already beat you. So either
Well, a bunch of people
either
did
I'm
pick
not
him.
as bad, and either I'm not as bad as everyone says, or you guys are being a little bit fucking crazy.
I think you're defensive now after the point I made about the light heavyweight division.
I'm not. I mean, everyone's like, I can't believe that you would have. Why didn't you pick Delize? Like, he hasn't looked that good. Sorry. I don't know.
Whatever way you write it, you guys lost again. You've
It's
only
bullshit,
won once
actually.
out of 4
Bullshit.
weeks.
It's bullshit.
So this is a big week. We're doing another 6-fight pick this week.
Okay.
Main card, 6 fights. You guys have to bounce back.
Okay. Well, this one I'm feeling good about.
All right, let's hear it.
Some of the names are hard to pronounce. So please don't judge me. I'm apologizing at the very beginning if I say your name wrong and you hear me. I am sorry. I'm trying.
He'll get it right on the recap.
Nathaniel Wood, Morgan Charrier. It's a really good fight. I like Nathaniel Wood a lot. I was I watched Morgan fight in person. I don't 100%. I want to say Manchester, but I think that's wrong. But I watched him fight in person, and it was different because when I broke down the fight, I remember thinking, this guy's pretty good. But then seeing him in person, he was much better live than he was on film. So I'm going to go Morgan. Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. Jordan Vucenic is a goddamn monster. He's a goddamn monster. He came in on short notice, fought Guram Kutidzeladze, who's also on this card, I think. Fought him on short notice. He's a Cage Warriors guy. Looks like a fucking serial killer. If you look at him, this guy's tattooed to all shit. If you look at him and then you speak to him, totally different perspectives here. Again, I'm really into dads and family men and whatever. I interviewed him right after that Kutidzeladze fight, and he's just super dad, like into his family, into his kid. He looks like a guy that would be shooting heroin on a corner. But when you talk to him,
tattoos on tattoos. I don't even know what his tattoos are.
Amazing dude. Really, I had a lot of fun talking to him. But he's really, really high level. I mean, he almost had Kutidzeladze out of there quick. Really heavy hands, good grappling game. And just like all these champions and these guys that come over from Cage Warriors, they are all battle tested and ready to go. They come out of the box ready to go. They've all been competitive right away. So I'm going Jordan Vucenic. I'm a big fan. I enjoyed watching him fight. I enjoyed talking to him, but he's dangerous, really dangerous. Molly McCann, Alexia Tainara, I think that's how you say it. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Molly McCann is hard to beat in the UK. So I'm going to go Molly McCann just strictly off of where she is, where she's fighting. She's just hard to beat in the UK. She comes out with a different energy, a different motivation. If Molly McCann fought every single fight she's ever had in the UK, I think we'd be looking at a different story here. And I believe she has been beat in the UK before, but my point stands. She's a different fighter at home. Then we have Gunnar Nelson, which I was super shocked to see that name on there.
Every 2 years, he pops up.
Yeah, I haven't seen Gunnar Nelson in a long time, but also versus Kevin Holland. So again, you kind of don't know what you're getting out of either guy. I always have Kevin Holland grappling in my back pocket when I'm talking about him because he always has the ability to be successful in the grappling and jiu-jitsu, the jiu-jitsu part of the game. He does not enjoy that advantage here. He cannot grapple with Gunnar Nelson. He cannot. I repeat, if Kevin is listening, do not grapple with Gunnar Nelson. He is that goddamn good. Not that Kevin Holland's going to listen to me. He probably don't give a fuck what I have to say. But just don't. If you can avoid it, don't do that. With that said, we haven't seen Gunnar Nelson in a really long time. He's known to be pretty hittable. Kevin Holland's about due for a good performance. So I am going to go Kevin Holland because in order for Gunnar Nelson to get a takedown, he's got to close the distance. You close the range, on a guy like Kevin Holland without a bunch of really good setups and being able to blend your striking together. Gunner's always been kind of like, he's very similar to Conor. They're very close, or at least they were. I don't know about now, but they were. So he does have a very side, kind of karate, weird, different, striking style. It's hard to blend that into grappling smoothly. So I'm going to go Kevin Holland. Blachowicz and Olberg, I think we talked about that mostly. I'm going to go Blachowicz because I can only go off of what I see. I can't just guess and assume. So, and then I'm going to go Sean Brady. I think the one I'm most unsure about is probably the Sean Brady Leon Edwards fight, because who knows, Leon Edwards, he might just show up, but who knows? If they both show up, I'm going Sean Brady. I guess that's what I'm assuming that we're going to get both versions, the best version of both guys. And if that's the case, I'm still going to go Sean Brady.
On DraftKings, Carlos Olberg, a big favorite over Jan Blachowicz, minus 298 to plus 240.
That's real big. I mean, and maybe people are they're seeing the same thing I am. I don't know. I don't know how Blachowicz is going to come back. It's a long layoff. It's a big injury. Maybe he got old overnight. I don't know. But it's only fair to him that I give him the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Well, that is the fights going down this weekend. But in just a couple minutes, we're going to bring in Jeremy Stephens, who I'm really excited to hear you talk to. He was the talk of the town last week when it was announced that he'd be returning to the UFC to fight in Des Moines against Mason Jones. Everyone was there's a lot of excitement and confusion because he's kind of been killing it with BKFC.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, where the hell did this come from? But I'm really excited to hear you talk to him.
Me and Jeremy, we don't know each other that well. When we see each other though, we don't live close anymore. He was in the generation ahead of me. So, like when he was coming up, I was a fan, but I wasn't in the UFC yet. So, but anytime we've run into each other, there's always a healthy bit of respect because our hometowns are about 2 hours from each other. So we came up in the same scene,
right?
Like that Midwest, Des Moines, Sioux City, Kansas City, Omaha, that same scene is kind of where we're from. So there's always a healthy bit of respect for each other.
All right. Now we bring in Jeremy Stephens. Next time you'll see him, UFC Des Moines. Super exciting. How you doing, Jeremy?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on. It's kind of cool for me when I was I don't even know if I had a winning record as a pro, but I remember driving up to Des Moines from Omaha and watching an event at Glory. And I think you had just fought, you just got in that short notice fight with RDA and it just knocked him out. And I remember seeing you walk around that venue and it was like just the coolest thing in the world. You were like the first UFC fighter I ever seen in person. So now it's like it's crazy all these years later, you've had this crazy resurgence like in bare knuckle and it seems like that really is, I don't know, it seems like you belong there, like that sport's kind of made for you. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. I followed your career too, kind of same Midwest, we have a great following, pulled ourselves out of the mud, just hardworking, blue collar, come from those types of families, but we had a little something extra, a little bit grit in the city behind us. So yeah, it's amazing, bro.
I kind of wish bare knuckle would have been around a little bit earlier, because I feel like there's a couple guys that you see around, like especially Midwest guys, that I think would have been absolute superstars there had it been around 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't feel like I have a prime. I feel like I'm always that dude who's always going to strive to get better. It's not the strongest or the smartest. It's a person willing to adapt to change. I've adapted myself to the game, walked through the ring of fire, really crawled like, you ever seen The Ring, the movie?
Yeah.
I feel like I was left down in the sewer, left for dead. I had to crawl my way back up, bare knuckles, and then lift the concrete lid off the top. Now I'm just going to fucking just wreak havoc on everybody. I got all my tools back, bare knuckles still my game. It's still big business. And I feel like going over here, it's creating even more opportunity, so I'm excited to come back home in the UFC. It's It's a huge blessing. I'm excited about it. Gets me through.
Yes. So I was obviously, I think like everyone else, surprised when you popped up. Well, I wasn't that surprised because of where the location of the fight is, but just seeing this explosion of your popularity and this back and forth with Conor and almost seemingly like it's just inevitable that we're going to see Jeremy Stephens versus Conor McGregor at some point. It has to happen at this point, and you've kind of flipped the narrative, at least to me, in the way that maybe we see it on the media side. It used to be Conor was that money fight that everyone was trying to get, and now it seems like Conor kind of needs you, and that's how it feels. But then now you're fighting back in the UFC in your hometown. Is this a one-off, or is this something that you're going to go back and forth?
This is to prove my certainty and why I took this, to put more opportunity in the bank. BKFC, UFC, you cannot run from me. I'm putting myself in the biggest opportunities and taking the biggest risk and betting on myself again. I love my odds. Those are the delusions that I have in my reality. It's obviously extreme focus. I'm prepared in this game with the mental it is and going in there and being a great athlete. But I'm putting myself out there as the number one baddest dude in bare knuckle, coming over to UFC. I'm looking to go in there and dominate and have a tremendous performance and leave myself undoubtedly the number one dude to choose from. Fuck Mike Chandler, dude. I used to make that dude cry. He could step aside. I've been in the game for so long. I'll break Conor. I feel like with that, dude, it's so much good opportunity there. And going over to BKFC, I done my job promoting. I think me and Mike Perry's a real big hot fight. And I'm kind of like the little brother, the lighter brother. I'm just better. So again, create my name. My name's in big CEO rooms that I'm not even in. My name's ringing bells. I'm putting myself out there. I'm taking the risk. I'm betting on myself, and I'm certain of it. And the journey. People don't realize I have a ton of experience. Like I said, I adapt, and I have a new clean sheet of paper to get this opportunity. I earned it. I called the bosses, the Godfathers. And they're blessing me because like of the work that I did. I had to walk through the hell and fire in Philly and have my bosses, even my promoters, like humiliate me, go against me, underpay me, which I felt, and I still promoted the fight, went in there, did my thing, and presented this opportunity to Uncle Dana. I was going back to Iowa, and my wife was like, "Why don't you just shoot a message? Why don't you just shoot a message?" And a part of me was just kind of like, what, like, I don't know, I don't know. And then I was like, what, like, why not? Like, bro, like you like, dude, you've been through the fucking ringer. Like, why not? They're going back to Des Moines. Like, this is an opportunity. Your name's still out there. BKFC said May. Like I've had feedback from them. They kind of, it gets further and pushed down the road. And I was like, what, April, May, it's not looking like it. Like, I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity. I'm gonna keep my name hot. I'm gonna bet on me again. I'm gonna prove to the world what I already know and certain of myself is that I'm gonna fucking win. It's as simple as that. And it's like, and now I'm having fun. Now I'm the authentic villain and doing my thing. And I think people are catching eyes to that. And it's a blessing. It's gratitude. I mean, dude, I walked into Philly, fought the Philly dude, came in there like Rocky Balboa when he was into Russia, stole the Philly fans after that. People really started kind of seeing it. When I was able to look in Conor's eyes after I literally just bare knuckle, just chased down a gazelle and just a lion. So like, it's like I saw that in his eyes, he was just promoting. He wasn't serious. Now I think people are really starting to take me serious because, like, bro, I'm crawling out of that fucking will to get what I want, bro. I want $1 million paydays, red panty nights. There's nobody out there who's putting in the work, betting on themselves, broke the matrix, Lucky Luciano type dude changing the game. It's tremendous opportunity, and it's the American dream. I'm so grateful for it, man. It's awesome.
Do you? Well, you're absolutely catching fire. I wouldn't even say catching fire. You're fucking on fire right now. Do you care where you would fight something like Conor? Like, where do you enjoy fighting more? Like, because, I have a lot of friends that, Chris Camozzi is getting ready to fight for the bare knuckle title or defend his bare knuckle title. And he seems like he has more fun training that style of it because he doesn't get as banged up and doing the MMA stuff. But you don't seem like a guy that really probably cares too much. But is there one that you enjoy more? Like, would you rather fight Conor one place or the other?
Bare knuckle. He's an Irish lad. You know, they
Yeah.
knuckle up. You know, like
Yeah.
bro, I think they taught the Americans like bare knuckle. You know, like think about them, some hardworking blue collar cats. Yeah, I would love to go over there, bro. Like, you know, the Ireland and Dublin, bro, they took care of me. They busted my balls about who the fuck's that guy, but bro, they bought me drinks. They, you know, they told me I was a legend. Like, you know, it would be a great fight. This is like years in the making. You know, I've been around amongst the people, and then the people they're turning against them. They don't like him. Even when I went over there years ago, they're kind of like, fuck that guy. You know, and then time's kind of kicked on, bro. Like he's kind of done his thing, made his money, bro. I still been climbing the ladder. I had to suffer. I got losses. I tried to go outside the UFC. I didn't get cut. I had like a kind of like what I'd call like a rebound in PFL. I didn't really like it over there. The fans, the energy, and I had a little bit of boxing. Had a great fight versus Aldo. I fought Avila. You know, there things in weight, kind of went up, fought. You know, I took my shot, and I was just like, damn, like again, this failed. Like, dude, like what the fuck, like. Really had to dig deep, dude. And I got into bare knuckle, bro. And I was like, I really started digging into my mind, doing the inner type work, bro. And you know, and then I was like, man, dude, no one's gonna fucking take me out in this game, bro. I come from Des Moines, Iowa, the 515, the heart that pumps this nation. I've been in so many street fights and this and that, dude, multiple fights. And I was like, bro, I always trust these. Like, if anything that got me in the UFC was these God-given knuckles, dude. These guys should have beat me a long time ago. I was a white belt when I fought fucking RDA. You know, he's doing his thing, bro. I'm just more mean than most people. I come from the fucking from the bottom, bro. You know, I built this shit brick by brick since I'm 16, bro. This is how I put clothes on my kids' back. Like I'm not the one to be fucked around with. You know, I really do that. So bare knuckle is, you know, I definitely feel like it's my game. I feel like we're going to a competitive AAA. You know, back putting the gloves back on. You know, bare knuckles. It's different, bro. It's not like a competitive thing. It's real raw dog fighting. I love it.
You know, so when you leave the UFC, and then and it's been a lot of fun to watch the journey though. Like you see the stint in the PFL, and then boxing. I thought, okay, this feels like more Jeremy. This like he can just let him fly and not have to worry about the clinch and people taking him down. And really, as a fan, like I don't want to see any of that shit. I don't want to see anybody shooting takedowns on you or slowing it down. I just want to see him. I just want to see people go. And then when he went to bare knuckle, I remember thinking like, Jesus Christ, this is exactly where this fucking guy belongs. And it's been fucking amazing to watch, bro. So you go back to the UFC. Well, just fast forward, you get this win. Where do we go from there? Do you just go back to bare knuckle and just keep putting those bricks down and keep working, or is there a path that you have kind of already figured out?
One thing I'm certain of is me preparing to train. You know, like when I talk about being in the darkness, you know, I got paid bare knuckle, you know, when I fought Jimmy Rivera, and then I got sat out on the sidelines for a year. They said April, May, June, you know, July. Bro, I missed my wife's birthday. I missed my kids' training. You know, sometimes I would get up 2, 3 in the morning, nail out a sprints and a 90-minute run, and have stuff packed, and then go travel up for some softball on the weekends. I mean, bro, you know, I didn't have a contract signed. You know, my kids really watched me put in work. There was no guarantees there. So, you know, I definitely wanted to go. I got back into it, got those fights, built myself back up. And after this last one, you know, it was like, I don't want to sit back in the darkness for long. You know, I want to take advantage of these opportunities, my intentions. And one thing I've been super certain of is me. You know, me doing the work, me training in the dark. You know, everybody fucking left me for dead. You know, like I've dealt with losses and the pain, bro. You know, the learning that I've had in digging myself out, and then like it took bare knuckle to break someone's fucking jaw, to people to really like, okay, we're starting to catch on, dude. We're starting to catch on. To go back to my hometown, like, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna get my win, and guess what, bro? I have no contract with nobody. There's multiple different routes. I'm certain of me. I'm betting on me. I don't even have to have like my management even calls. Like, bro, I have straight direction off the respect and the skin in the game that I put in over the years. I can talk to the Godfathers, you know, and it's amazing because I'm certain of me. You know, I've been alone. Everybody, like I said, left me for fucking dead. I've literally rose up like the Undertaker, dude, and started climbing the fuck out of the fucking well. Concrete thing was over it. Had to pull off the goddamn lid. And now, like, and it's like 7 weeks, I'm gonna wreak fucking havoc and welcome back to the UFC. People seem to forget about me, bro. I have kicks, spinning back fists, flying elbows, like one of the bloodiest fights in history. I've taken fights like Frankie Edgar, Zabit, squeaked by decisions, had to wrestle the way out, but close. It's like, bro, it's like I've had to crawl out of the mud, dude. And I don't forget, I was left for dead, and I'm super grateful for these opportunities, but I'm bringing that pain to purpose.
I can't wait to see it, man. You got my hands all sweaty right now. Just listening to you talk, man. I'm hype, man. It's been absolutely amazing to see your career and see now everyone else paying attention to you more now. I can't wait to make that drive up I-29 from Omaha to Des Moines and come support you in person, man. So I appreciate you coming and hanging out. Old school, bro. Old school.
One credit I want to give, man, is one time, I saw my big brother, rest in peace, Anthony Johnson. He left outside of UFC. He went up in weight classes. He fought bigger dudes. He was knocking people out, and he climbed his way back and earned his way back in the UFC and started getting paid the huge bucks. Got a title fight.
Sure.
I'll never forget that, dude. Never give up. Never give up. And shout out to my boy, Anthony Johnson. I know he's down watching, super proud. I know he would have been like one of those dudes that hit me up like after that fight and hearing about the UFC. He would have been there for sure. He was there at my wedding, dude. I passed out on the jet or what do you call that? The tarmac, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, man. This is you got me super hyped, man. I can't wait to see it. And hopefully you'll come back and come chit chat afterwards.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, I'd love to see you out there, man. Midwest for life, baby.
Hell yeah. All right, man. You take care. I'll see you soon.
You too, bro. Thanks.
Yep.
Anthony, can I just say I absolutely fucking loved both of Jeremy's answers about Conor McGregor.
He's got me hype. It's crazy. In 2025, I think about the Michael Chandler situation. I would much rather see Conor versus Jeremy Stephens right now. I really would. That's 100%. The fight. That's the fight that I want to see. That guy got me super pumped. I want to listen to Jeremy Stephens talk before I go train. Because he had me pumped up.
Because he has so much belief in himself. He was wearing the
Jackson podcast shirt.
The second he logged on in the Jackson podcast shirt, my day was made.
Yeah, I was like, this is awesome. I love it. Love Jeremy. Love the Midwest thing. It's great.
Do you agree with him that would you rather see him and Conor in BKFC over UFC?
Yeah, I'd much rather see it in BKFC. I think that his money-making opportunities are going to be bigger in the UFC, though. So for Jeremy, I would rather it happened in the UFC. I think he's gonna earn a lot more there, just in terms of let's just keep this pure and what matters to me the most. I would love to see it in BKFC. Small. There's no cage. It's the ropes. You can still clinch. There's no threat of takedowns, so they can just really let them some bitches fly. No kicking game, so Conor's got to fight in the pocket. Let's fucking go.
Well, hopefully he picks up a win out in Des Moines because I am already looking forward to the Conor McGregor call out, regardless of where it happens.
Yeah,
hopefully
I don't care
if we ever do see Conor in a cage
I'll
again.
I'll watch him fight at a Walmart parking lot. Wherever it happens, I just need to know. I just need
a date and a time and a location.
And I'll make sure I'm there.
Before we get on out of here, let's do a couple more questions because we put up another post.
This part.
We got a ton. We'll start with our own Home of Fight team. Left a good comment. Would you rather have a 12-hour podcast with Colby Covington or get punched by Francis Ngannou? Didn't specify where the
Colby Covington for sure. And I'll tell you why. Not because I care about being punched by Francis. I'll take a shot from Francis. What's he going to do? Knock me out? I won't be awake for it anyway, so it doesn't matter. I would love to be able to sit down. 12 hours is a long fucking time, but I'd love to really get to the root of who Colby Covington really is. Because we all know that his shtick is it's a gimmick, right? It's just a character that he created. But if you guys ever, for anyone listening or watching, if you get bored, go and look up Colby Covington interactions. There's one, it looks like it's him at a wrestling tournament, maybe. I think it's a wrestling tournament. There's a young kid that comes up. Colby's got a hat on and sunglasses, I think. And he's like trying to be, his character. And this kid asked him a really genuine question about being successful and what he needs to do. And Colby gave him the most heartfelt, down-to-earth answer and was just real for a second. And it was motivating. It was caring. It was really well thought out, and he just really cared about giving that kid an honest answer, knowing that his gimmick was being broken. So I'd like to just dig into like who he really is and how we ended up here, and when was the moment you decided to switch? Because we've all heard the story that Colby was on like a big win streak and they were going to cut him because he was boring and no one wanted to watch him. So that's when he pulled out the, Brazilians are a bunch of filthy animals and all that stuff. So when you think about it from that lens, I'm not saying take it out, but like forget the things that he said that has been, whatever he said that have made you guys offended. It makes me feel bad that he had to be something that he's not to be successful. He didn't have a choice, or at least felt like he didn't have a choice. Maybe he did, but he felt like he didn't. So I'd really like to like get to the root of that and figure out who he really is and what that moment was like when he had to change his character or become a character. And I'd really love to know how he feels about it all. Like, does he feel bad? Or does he feel like he's a imposter? Or like, does he walk into his house and just be able to turn it all off? Like, I wonder, like does he get uncomfortable when he leaves, knowing that like so many people hate you because of something, and they hate you for something that you're not. It's just something that you're pretending to be.
Made up
It's
personality.
Right. So like, does he not even feel it because he knows that's not him? So he's able to compartmentalize it and shut it off because it's not him? Or does it bother him that the whole world hates him for things that really aren't who he is? I don't know. I wonder. I'd love to figure all that out.
I'll be honest.
I would love for you to reach out to Colby and see if we can get him on here.
Sure.
And just have I don't even know if he'd be willing. We just sit on here for an hour and just talk. Wouldn't even have to be about fights or whatever, like anything specific or what do you want to do or what's coming up. It'd be cool to just sit here and just have. He did an interview with, I think, Bisping leading into the Masvidal fight, and he was pretty real then. If you get a chance, go look at it. He sits down with Mike before the Masvidal fight, and he's in his goofy suit, and he's got some moments of the gimmick that come in, but he's pretty real in that one too. And that one was probably my favorite Colby Covington interview.
I honestly didn't know what answer you were going to give, but after hearing that, I want to hear at least an hour with you and Colby, which I didn't think I was going to say.
It. Yeah, I would love to just. The problem is I don't know that I could get him to drop the gimmick.
Simon from the UK says, will you get a cool new tattoo after your last fight coming up?
Yeah, so I'm still working on finishing my leg sleeve. We're really, really close, probably one big session from being finished there. But I'm actually in the process of getting a couple removed. I sounds really fucked up. I'm getting my kids' names removed right now. So I got this one right here it's already starting to get lighter, like as you get through there, and like some of this is going away. And then the other one is up on my shoulder right there. So that one's already starting to bleed and go. I'm 2 sessions into removal of that. My wife has those exact same tattoos. So she's also been through 2 sessions. So we've been going together, getting them removed. And then we're going to do one, because we started getting them like as we were having our kids. So we had a baby and then we got the first one, and then we had another baby and had the next one. We've had 4 kids now and we don't have the other 2. And like now we're struggling because I'm so covered. We're struggling to figure out where to put them. And if we could go back, we would have done that differently. So we're going to get these ones completely removed. And then we're going to get one piece that is all 4 kids. So that's what I'm working on right now in terms of my tattoo journey. I'm going to get my leg sleeve finished as soon as I fight. I'm going to have a big party, but not like your typical, I don't do the club thing that much, so it's not my thing. But the plan is to get this big, rent out this big ballroom, and so it'll be kid friendly, because a lot of my wrestlers from the wrestling team are coming, and their families, and my oldest daughter and second oldest daughter's volleyball teams, like a lot of their friends and teammates and their parents are all coming. So I'd like to find somewhere I want to do it where it's kid friendly. So, but I also want to party a little bit. So like,
of course,
trying to figure that out. But yeah, I think we're going to rent this big ass ballroom somewhere like probably shouldn't give out the location, but it's in Kansas City, and just have a DJ and have some food and drinks and hang out, let the kids all hang out and just celebrate. So that's my plan.
Amazing. Let's do 2 more. I know you've talked about this before, but you've never talked about it on this show in particular. What was it like being in there with Jon Jones? Like the build up to the fight, the nerves. I know you've talked in depth about how he kind of plays a mental game before you even step in the cage with him.
Yeah. So the buildup during at the time, I'd only fought a couple main events. So I was still getting used to like the larger media obligations of main events. So, but obviously fighting a title fight is significantly larger. And then doing it against Jon Jones is even bigger. So my media obligations were larger, but really the training camp portion of it was fine. Fight week was different. Like, it's all things that Jon is used to, but it's new for us. Like if you've never been in that position before. So things like pulling up to Vegas and seeing your face all over billboards, and you can't really go anywhere because the whole entire city has seen you for weeks. But I hadn't been in Vegas, so I didn't know. So I couldn't really go anywhere. I was almost a little bit isolated because I couldn't go anywhere without getting mobbed. And Jon he's a gamer. I mean, he's a gamer all like through and through. So he'll fuck with your media schedule. He'll fuck with your training schedule. Like if you have a training time set at the PI and Jon wants it, he'll do his best to finagle his way into it. And I'm not the type of dude who's going to handle that stuff well. So I'll just freak out. And I think he thought he was getting to me and bothering me, but really, like, I have no problem freaking out. It doesn't bother me. Like, it doesn't change.
Sure.
It doesn't change anything. I'll just freak out. But I push back a lot. So I felt like instead of going with the flow and letting Jon kind of dictate a lot of my stuff, I felt like I was constantly pushing back at every corner, which was in itself a big pain in the ass. There was one interview where I kind of lost my shit a little bit, where he actually got to me. We're in this building, like some media place, and he's in one side of the building and I'm in the other. You ever seen that DC video where DC, Jon says, "DC, you still there?"
Yeah, of course.
DC says, so I'm in that building. So you're actually in the same building. Like it's a small little building, and there's only, I don't know, not very far between you. So there was some technical difficulties going on during this interview. We're just sitting there forever. Like I'm there on time and Jon is like 40 minutes late. So I'm already pissed off because now it's fucking with the rest of my media obligations. And now because I still have media obligations, still have to train. I'm still working my weight cut. I still have a lot of things to do. And now I'm 40 minutes behind because Jon shows up whenever the fuck he wants to. He's a champion of the world, whatever. Some will say he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But anyways, it was a pain in the ass. So he shows up and there was some sort of technical difficulties. And I remember, this is why I don't know if I've ever told this part of the story. I have this little earpiece thing in, and I'm sitting there in a chair, and all there is just a camera in front of my face and my team and a couple people that work there. And we're waiting to come in. I don't know if it was on Fox or ESPN or whatever, but we're waiting to be brought into this show. And so this is like a studio, but we're actually being brought into a live show. And the guy brings us in. But before this, Jon must have had I don't know if his cell phone, like, I don't know if it was on speakerphone, but it didn't sound like it. But he's talking to his wife on the phone while we're waiting to go live. But his microphone is right here. So I can hear his voice because he's mic'd, but I can also hear hers. So right. I can hear the whole conversation going on. And it was like the weirdest conversation. Like, again, I'm not getting into their personal life or whatever, but it was a fucking weird conversation. It was odd. It was so odd. Like listening to Jon Jones have a personal conversation with his wife. So I was uncomfortable because I know I'm not supposed to be hearing this.
Of course.
But also listening to Jon be a husband was odd. It was odd. Like it was a husband-wife conversation. So it was weird. It was fucking weird. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're live and they throw us right in. So I go from listening to Jon and his wife have a conversation to now I'm live on whatever the show is that we're on. And there was
your brain is still probably processing.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? So like I remember the last part of the conversation was Jon talking about transferring money to her. like she wanted to go shopping. Like the end of the conversation was she wanted to go shopping. And there was something she wanted to buy and he needed to transfer the money to her. It was something like that. Like maybe I have a little bit of it wrong. It was a long time ago, but something with money and she wanted to buy something. So it was like an actual husband and wife conversation at the end. And then we're live and the guy would he would ask me a question and then I would start to talk. And then there would be a solid like 1, 2, 3 second delay. So now I'm talking, but I'm hearing what I said 3 seconds ago. So it like for anybody that doesn't know what that's like is impossible. So like now that I'm media trained and I've been doing this a long time, I would have just pulled the earpiece out because there is speakers and you can hear the question.
Right.
But like at the time I had no idea. Like it's happened a bunch of times now that I've been on the desk. Like I think when we were in New York for would have been 2 years ago, we were doing that show on the bridge or like but with the bridge behind us, we're outside at the ESPN studios.
Yep.
There's something going on where like Megan O'Leary would say something and then I would start to answer and then I would hear what Megan said 3 seconds ago, followed by another 3 seconds of my answer. So I'm like 10 seconds ahead in my conversation and I'm hearing shit from 10 seconds ago. So like,
oh my God,
it
that's
was
such a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's impossible. So then we're in front of each other. So I just pulled my earpieces out. Like I just pulled them out, my IFBs. I just pulled them out, and then because your microphone's still working. So I just had the conversation in person with them instead of listening to it in my ears. And then I just waited so Megan sees me pull them. So now she knows she has to cue me when we have to go, whether it's we go into a break, or she's going into a feature, or she's going into an interview or whatever we're doing next. Now she's aware that she sees me pull them. So she knows she has to give me some sort of cue, whether it's a hand signal, like when the camera comes to me or it comes to her and it's just a single of her, then she can give me a hand signal. Like I'm moving my hand right now and you guys can't see it. So she'll give me some sort of hand signal saying, don't say anything, like stop, whatever, until we can get this issue figured out. When I fought Jon Jones, I wasn't that savvy. I wasn't media trained. So I kind of just freaked out. I was fucking scrambled. I'm listening to Jon and his wife talk about whatever the fuck they got going on in their life. I'm hearing like a big 3 second delay. Then they're asking Jon a question. He's being a dick, which is what he's supposed to do. He's hyping the fight. And then they come back to me. So I'm keeping my answers like super short because I can't handle the delay. Like my brain is fucking fried. So that was a bad one. But other than that, it's just dealing with the bullshit. In terms of fighting Jon, it's a big pain in the ass. I don't know that I necessarily felt like I was in a fight. I was in like a real high level mixed martial arts competition. Then I was neutralized, and it was really frustrating. That's what Jon does. He's the best in the world at neutralizing people and staying ahead. So it was as big of a pain in the ass as you can imagine. But I would fight Jon Jones 10 times before I would fight Thiago Santos again. It's just
that.
It goes back to the same conversation I had earlier, where it's not always the best guy that keeps you up at night. Jon Jones didn't keep me up at night. Like I wasn't afraid Jon was going to hurt me. Thiago Santos will absolutely hurt you. If he could hide a shank in his jockstrap and get away with it and then shank you with it if he was losing, he would. He's that guy. He's that guy. He'll keep you up at night. He'll hurt you.
All right, we'll end it on this one. It's pretty much a yes or a no. Something I don't know either. I don't think I've ever asked you. Have you ever considered growing a full beard? Can you?
I don't know whether to be offended.
I don't know.
Or if I should be flattered that people think I could grow a full beard.
There's some guys that just keep it like you have it for aesthetics, and some guys who literally can't.
I know people have said, well, just if that's all you're gonna do, just shave it. If I shave this, I look fucking stupid. Like I look like a child.
Like you look a baby, yeah.
I look like a baby. So I'm already losing my, like I haven't cut my hair in a while. Look at this. How far back this shit's getting. I'm getting a little bald back there. So my hair comes in super white trash, it's like because I'm half black and half white, it's like I have the curly nappiness from my black side, but also the Joe Dirt white trash patchiness when it comes in. My dad was the same way. it'll like come in through here, and there's like a big bald spot like right through here.
Oh no.
And it comes in really patchy. So like on this side, it'll come in, and then like it won't quite crest my chin right there. So like it doesn't ever come fully under my chin. So it comes in like real thick through here on this side, but nothing up here, and then nothing here, and then a big bald spot right there. So I would if I could. I can't. And my mustache, I just look really dirty. So like it's because it's not really thick. It gets really long. Like my mustache would look exactly like this, but it's really thin. So I just look dirty. Like if I let it all grow, like sometimes I'll go like a week and I just won't shave it all. I'll just be at home and not doing anything.
Right.
And my mustache will grow, and then my patchiness will grow, and I look like a mechanic. Like I got fucking grease on my face. I just look like shit. I would if I could. I just look homeless.
I will say the "can you grow it" came from me, not the listener. So if you're gonna be offended with anyone, I feel like I've said a lot.
That's fine. Well, and this one, like this bullshit here, gets really long, but it changes colors when it gets long. So like the edges. I know. I don't even know if anyone gives a fuck about this, but I'll tell you, I don't care. The edges, like from here out, stay black. But from here in, if it gets any longer than this whole middle turns red, and then it turns red, and then just outside of it, it turns white. But only when it gets to a certain length. It's wild.
Could have lived without that information.
I'm just saying, it's fucking weird. Well, I have a redhead kid. My grandma was a redhead, so like the only place it comes in is right in the middle of my goatee. It's weird.
The more you know.
It's fucking weird. Maybe I'm special.
You learn something new every day.
I don't know how we got talking about this, but listen, if you guys ask, I'll tell you. I don't give a shit. I got no shame.
We literally went from Jan Blachowicz's defense to Anthony's patchy red beard that he can't grow past a certain length. So
to Jon Jones
covered a lot of ground. You covered a lot of ground in this episode.
I've never told that part of the story. I mean, I probably have, like, to friends or whatever, but never publicly. Not that it's anything bad. It's just it never came up, I guess. Yeah. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, tell your friends. I don't know, follow the Instagram, follow the Twitter. Tell people. Again, it's easy for you guys. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to me. I don't know how much it means to Kelly, but it means a lot to me. And up to this point, we really appreciate the support. It's been super cool. I've had a lot of fun doing this. These episodes always end up way longer than we planned them to be. But it's because we have a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next week. We partner with HomoFight Picks to get you the most accurate and well-researched fight predictions. They do all the legwork so you can focus on winning. Picks will be sent directly to your phone via text or email. It's totally up to you. The second we upload them. Use code Lionheart to get 7 free days at winnable.com/HOF picks. That's WINIBLE.com/HOF picks.
With Anthony Smith.